Welcome back to the Wait What podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, you see I have some special guests with me. The conference call is invading the Wait What podcast. Everybody say hello to TJ and Chris. Insert applause.
What's going on? What's going on?
Thank you guys for joining me. This is kind of like a crossover episode because we are giving you a full episode of
What's going on?
Yes, girl, what's going on? Because what's going on in the world is everybody is talking about the Netflix special Reality Check, America's Next Top Model, the mess that it was. So this is kind of a what you're watching episode / Gworl, what's going on? And Gworl's surface level, what did we think of this special?
Can I start?
You have had it.
Sure.
Let's just say this. Tyra did herself no favors at all. She is the villain in this story. And you know what? We were rooting for you.
We were all rooting for you. TJ, what is like your surface level response before we dive deep into it?
Yeah, I agree with Chris. I was shocked, honestly. I didn't expect it to be. I don't know. As a faithful watcher of several seasons, and of course, as a little baby gay, we didn't know what was really going on.
Yeah.
But I was just shocked. It was very shocking.
It was actually. Here's my take on it, though. That was a different time and era, and when we were watching it for different reasons. And I don't think that show in its current iteration that it was in could never ever be aired today.
All right, so for those who have been living under a rock, let's just give you a little background.
Older.
So, Reality Check, America's Next Top Model was a Netflix special. It featured the one and only Tyra Banks. She will be a large part of this discussion, I'm sure. But Ken Mock, he was the producer. He created it with Tyra, Jay Manuel, Jay Alexander, or Miss J, as everybody affectionately knows her. Nigel Barker, Shandy Sullivan. That is another one we need to dive into. The Shandy of it all. Child. Shannon Stewart, she was on cycle 1. Giselle Sampson was also on cycle 1. Joni Dodds, she was runner up on cycle 6. Ebony Haith, she was on cycle 1. Whitney Thompson, cycle 10 winner. Kenya Hill, cycle 4. That's another one we need to kind of dive into, like for real. Kenya Hill, she was on cycle 4. Dionne Walters, cycle 8. Danny Evans, or as she said, Danielle by the end of it, she was cycle 6 winner. And Ari Skolark, she was on cycle 5. Ciao.
Bree Skolark.
Yeah, Bree, my bad. Yeah. Bree Skolark. Yeah, I love Bree too. She was one of my faves.
So sweet.
Yeah, she was. Let's start with the first episode. There were 3 episodes.
Only 3 episodes.
There were only 3 episodes, and the first episode heavily focused on Shandy and the drama that happened with Shandy while they were in. Were they in Rome? I think.
That was the first episode?
That was the first. That was the first episode. Or was it? No.
I think it was the second.
Was it the second?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it towards the end of the first episode, it starts going in.
It starts the Shandy.
It was a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it did end on a cliffhanger. So I guess the first episode talked about the creation of the show and how it was Tyra's brainchild. And how she approached Ken and how they had to shop it to different networks. And
it almost never even happened.
UPN was their final choice.
Yeah.
And it landed on UPN after shopping at all the major networks, ABC, NBC, Fox.
And I think with the whole UPN of it all was that it was a new network. They were trying to build programming, and they had a new president, and she was like, all right, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
And that's how it came about.
Yeah.
And UPN had back then, UPN had a lot of Black content as well.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know if it was actually called the Urban People's Network, but that's what we called it locally. Because it did have all the Black shows. It had the Parkers, it had Moesha, it had the Hugleys, it had what else? Half and Half. All of us. So
not one-on-one.
One-on-one. Yeah.
One-on-one, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All those shows had those bomb theme songs
Yeah.
too. Through this
Yeah.
journey of
Discovery.
discovery.
We're not gonna start.
Yes. Yes.
We're not gonna start.
Dude, that was back in the day though. And then
Yeah.
here come America's Next Top Model. Now Tyra's
Want to be on top.
yeah, Tyra's thought process was she wanted it to be like the real world meets American Idol. It came off of the heels of the first season of American Idol that
Yes.
Kelly Clarkson won. And I never looked at it that way, but that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought that this docuseries was very informative because, like, who would have thought that, one, this is how it even really started. And then,
Yeah.
like I said, when we were watching this at first, I never thought that this was a whole Tyra, this was her idea, her thing that she shopped around, her thing that, and this is the thing that I think that people, well, none of us really knew at the time. And this is what's gotten her in trouble now is that she was an executive producer, the creator of this show, but yet still she passed the blame off to other people when it was negative and took full responsibility when things were quote unquote good.
I feel like you have a thought, TJ. Go ahead.
I mean, I have many. Yes, it was like there would not have been an America's Next Top Model without her. It was her idea,
Yes.
which, Chris, as you just said, I don't think we ever really knew that. We just thought it was a show and
Yeah.
she's a big part of it. She's the host, like it's her. But I don't think we ever knew or realized that it was her show. I think, and I think this was the first episode. It had to be the first episode when they were talking to Ken Mock and how Tyra approached Ken about doing a show. I should have known when he started talking in the inception of even before it, how he described Tyra. I should have known this was gonna go off the rails. He was like, he thought it was gonna be like a vanity project, and she's a model, and she's probably not very bright.
Yeah.
You said this on camera in 2025.
Well, so to
But he still left that part out. Jesus.
yeah, I mean, but to his credit though, he was just being honest of what he thought in the moment. You have to think this was 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
2000,
Yeah.
probably even 2001 when they were coming up with the idea, because I'm sure they shopped it around for at least a year. It didn't come on air until 2020, 2003.
Was it 2000?
I think it was 2003, May of 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that could have been what you thought back then. But you didn't have to say that right now.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think that this
Jesus.
docuseries was very brutally honest with a lot of the things. And as we start to talk about this whole series, we'll see, I think that was what made this docuseries so just
Polarizing.
yeah, because everyone's so honest.
Yeah. Was everyone honest though? I think that's
I mean,
I think
Tyra, maybe not.
to an
She
extent.
walked away looking like the bad guy, but we'll get into it.
yeah.
Well, I mean, because she kind of is.
Well, can we get a little heavy too? So later on in the episode, we do see Shandy. I forget what cycle was Shandy on. She was on cycle 2. I believe Shandy was on cycle 2. Yes. And first of all, you want to talk about unrecognizable? I could not put two and two together from the girl from Walgreens to the girl she is today. And granted, yes, life happens and it's been 20 plus years
Yeah, but
at this point, but life happened to her. And I
Yeah.
wonder if what happened on the show completely
this is the
Well,
result of it.
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think she's pretty now than she was before.
Yeah, I mean, she looks good. She looks healthy. I'm not saying like
But she looks like when they put
You
her,
wouldn't recognize her.
no,
you would not recognize
not at
You
all.
would not recognize
the-
her.
she could be walking down the street and I wouldn't know a thing.
Wouldn't know a thing. But also, if for some magical reason that Shandy would have been walking down the street today, I still wouldn't be able to recognize because I'm like, who is this? But yeah, and that's the thing about that. I remember that episode.
I remember that episode too because I remember when he was yelling at her on the phone, like asking her, like, "What did you do?" And remember him calling her like the bitch. Like that was so. Looking back at it now, they really tried to make Shandy try to
Yes.
make it seem like she just cheated on her boyfriend, and
Yeah.
it was so much more than her just cheating on her boyfriend.
Yeah.
She was not in the right headspace. She was incapacitated,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, I think it's an unanswered question, and she didn't even really address it fully. But like, was she? Let's just say it,
I don't know if I would call it, but it was definitely sexual assault.
because like
Also, pause for
everyone's.
a minute.
Go ahead.
I don't think you can say rape on YouTube, so you may have
Okay,
to edit this.
we'll bleep it out. Bleep it out.
Yeah.
um, I don't think she ever said it per se in the documentary, or at least I don't remember. But I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah.
She was under the influence. Apparently, she passed out at some point, or she lost consciousness
Yeah, she
at
blacked
some
out. Yeah.
point, and sex was had.
Yeah.
Um, by the letter of the law,
Yeah.
that is sexual assault.
Yeah.
So, and again, watching it as a kid or teenager or whatever, and because of the way that it was edited, well, some people obviously knew, but like just the average viewer, me, you would not have known that that's what happened, because they edited it to seem like she had a wild night, she got drunk, she cheated on her boyfriend.
Yes. They
And then,
really made they honestly victim blamed her for
for
that
sure.
Yeah,
situation.
and what I don't understand is like how production people who videotaped it, people who edited it, people that greenlit it are not being held accountable for that. 'Cause like
Exactly.
you
They're
guys recorded this sexual assault.
Yeah, like they should be 100% be held responsible for it. And the thing that pissed me off and pissed a lot of people off was the fact that Tyra tried to say, "Oh, I wasn't a part of the production," but throughout the series, there's mentions made of her being in the editor's room
Absolutely.
Yes.
and
And she's
all
a
of this
master
stuff. And
editor.
so it's like, and then it cut. I saw somebody say it cut to the part where it says Tyra Banks, executive producer and creator. So, as a producer, yeah, you might not have been physically there, but
You saw it.
you saw what happened. And the fact that I'm sure their camera crew and their production crew was full of men. Not one of those men stepped in to say, "Hey, dog, you doing too much." And like, where were the other models to even maybe even advocate for their friend to say, "Hey, she's had maybe just a little bit too much to drink." I'm not putting it on the other models. This is fully on production, but
Yeah.
where was her safety net? She
Yeah,
had absolutely no
like
safety
there's a
net.
lot of blame to go around, and nobody took responsibility at all.
Nobody. It's to this day,
Yeah,
and the way that Tyra skirted past it, just girl.
And the fact that it was filmed,
yeah,
like,
Yes.
and
and
I'm sure. No, I'm sure
according
that
to
that video is
Tyra,
still there.
say what?
That video is still there somewhere.
Oh, more than likely, because according to Tyra, there was some stuff that they didn't even air on that.
Yeah,
Yes.
So I'm assuming they probably have the entire thing
Yes. Yes.
on video, and obviously didn't air the part where the sexual assault or the sex was actually happening. I shouldn't put sexual assault in air quotes. But like they didn't have, I mean, they didn't air that obviously, but I'm sure somewhere on the cutting room floor,
yeah.
there it is. And then what is really I don't even know the word. They made sure to record the phone call between her and her
Yes.
boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then after her breakdown of that, that's when production steps in and says, "I'm really sorry we had to record that."
It-
Seriously?
and
Bitch.
then to pour salt on the wound, Tyra had this girl on her talk show. The
Oh,
Shandy said, "I don't want this to be played. I don't want to talk about it." And Tyra still
She said she's never
played
seen
it.
it,
She said she's never seen it.
and she doesn't want
She
to.
doesn't want to see it. She was on the stage with Tyra, literally not looking at it, and Tyra turns to her, "I noticed you weren't watching that. Is there a reason why you don't want to watch it?"
But she said that before they went on stage to do
She
the
said
show,
she did
she
not
said,
want
"I
it
do
to be.
not want to see it."
Yes.
like, can you
That was
imagine?
bait and switch.
Could you imagine your sexual assault filmed, recorded, shown for the world to see, Then you're back on this talk show having to relive it, tell the host, who's also the producer of the show on which you were sexually assaulted, tell her, "Hey, no, I don't want to watch it." And then have it, well, actually, we have it. Like,
No,
that
this is not
shit
you get a car, you get a car.
is
No.
crazy.
Like you got sexually assaulted on national TV on the number one talk show. I mean, not talk show, on the number one reality show at the time.
Woo!
And then victimized again
Victimized
years
again
later.
Again.
for entertainment.
Yeah.
Like this is like
Um,
Tyra, girl, Tyra.
and then
You did
literally,
yourself no favors.
and you're like, you're where you're not the only person who knows the truth, but everybody in the audience does not know. Everyone in the audience thinks what production wanted them to think, which
Yeah.
was you had a wild night, you cheat on your boyfriend. That is trash. Like I hate that for her. I really do,
Yeah.
baby. I don't. J- uh, so
How do you come back from that?
well, she seems to be doing okay from what we have seen, but I'm certain that she still has a lot of trauma
Oh, I'm
surrounding
sure.
that.
And I'm
You know.
sure this docu series brought it all right
Yeah.
back up.
Yes.
And speaking, to kind of jump ahead a little bit, because I figure we're going to jump around anyway. Speaking of sexual assault, that wasn't the only one that actually kind of happened on the show. Think about what happened to Kenya Hill.
Yeah.
And she was, and this was another instance where Tyra pissed me off because she was so condescending in her quote unquote apology to Kenya, because she was like, I thought I was empowering her, and I thought, I was telling her to do what will be right for the shoot and everything. She had to say, boo boo, like, she literally used the words, boo boo, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
Don't boo boo me. I
Don't
am a
Google me.
grown ass woman. Like, if you're gonna apologize, make it sincere. It came
Yeah.
off so condescending and so insincere. It was like time, like, girl.
And once again, everyone watched while this man fondled this woman
Make
on this set.
noises.
And I am sure there is a lot more that we did
Yeah.
not see.
Who had the courage to stick up for herself in the moment, and everybody was like, no, let's just get this shot.
They acted
Like,
as though she wasn't it's
And she
it's
was professional about it. She was
she
like,
was.
I'm just letting y'all know I'm a little uncomfortable. Somebody should have stepped in. One of the men, the many men that she was surrounded by, should have stepped in and be like, okay, dude, you're doing too much.
Yeah,
child
this
failures.
it like I said, looking at it, years later, hindsight's 2020 because back then we weren't looking at it like that. And
Mhm.
you never would have thought, oh well, wait a minute, is she being assaulted? Is she being taken advantage of? Like it never even crossed my mind. I can only speak for me. But like literally looking back at this now and then hearing what her take of it was like, wow.
And that again goes to the magic of editing. You can make the viewer think anything you
Yeah,
want them to think with editing.
yeah,
So, yeah, it was what I kind of gathered, one thing that I kind of gathered from this and the way Tyra kind of explains away like all of her behavior is like, not to bring Law Roach into this, but I feel like they both act in a way because they've been treated a certain way in the industry. Therefore, they think the industry is that, and therefore they have to treat people that same way. So, Tyra, I think the reason, specifically with like, let's talk about Kenya and her response to Kenya. She was like, "Well, girl, yes, that happened. So, but you just got to tell them to back off and blah 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 blah." That leads me to believe that stuff like that has happened to Tyra, and that's how she handled it. Which, girl, okay, if that's how you handle it, but you have someone experiencing this, and because that's all you knew how to do or what to do, then that's the advice you're going to give them when that's not necessarily good or the best advice.
but here's the thing though, there was another layer to what Kenya was going through because all this was being filmed for a reality TV show. She was completely surrounded by cameras 24/7. They told them
Yeah.
everything you do is being recorded, right? Whereas, and I'm not belittling Tyra's experience, or anyone's experience, but when it was happening to her, she dealt with it in that manner. It wasn't for public
Yeah.
consumption.
Yeah,
You
true.
know what I mean?
Yep.
And these what I took away from this whole series, especially a lot of the women said at the very end was just like, oh, we thought that we were going to get on this show and we were going to get exposure, get modeling contracts, and all of them walked away. The majority of them walked away, feeling as though they were they were taken advantage of, and they got nothing out of it.
Well, before you get there, let's go back a little bit because
Okay.
yeah, the first episode also focused heavily on Ebony,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize they outed her on TV. Granted, like she took it on the chin, but there was no like side conversation with her to say, "Hey, we're going to talk about you being a lesbian on TV." They literally did it for the camera. You know how dangerous that could have been for her,
Well, she
for
said
a
that.
black woman
Yeah.
in the early 2000s to
Mhm.
be outed on TV and to not only be outed on TV, but to show her relationship on TV as well. And granted, she took it as a moment to advocate for queer black love,
Yeah.
but at the same time, the way we found out about her was so wrong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, like I remember her, but I don't remember that part of her story. When they played that, I was like, "Oh, that happened?" Like, I had no recollection
But you
of
know
her even
what?
being a lesbian. But it is fucked up that they they just outed it just like that. Like, "Hey, we see that you're a lesbian. Are you okay with blah, blah, blah?" Like, yeah, there was
Yes, that
no
should have been a side conversation.
that should have been decided. It truly doesn't seem well, there clearly were no guide rails or guidelines as far as how this show was going to run. And there were no ethics there were no code of ethics involved with this. And so it was just like we are just doing whatever the fuck we think we can do or think is right. And I like were there no lawyers on set or attached to the
Well,
Well,
apparently there
there
were.
was
After the whole Tiffany of it all,
yeah,
they had to get the
because
lawyers on
I
set.
honestly want to know
oh yeah.
what else happened, because what she did and said didn't warrant lawyers showing up the next time, but they made it very evident after that interaction. Lawyers were present for the filming directly after that, and like why?
And let's even talk about that moment because it was such a polarizing moment, and everybody still says to this day, "We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you." But watching it in this light, it takes the funny out of it. Like everybody kind of jokes about the situation and everything now, and they do make light of it. It's parodied everywhere,
Yeah,
right? But watching it in this light, and then even seeing Tiffany's response, she wasn't on the docu series, but like she's been on social media talking about the
Mhm.
situation and looking at it in a different lens. That was kind of like, I don't want to say abuse. I feel like abuse is too extreme, but at the same time, Tyra, even her half-hearted apology talking about I knew I went too far. Like, did she even really apologize for it?
Probably not. But also, so about that particular situation, I've never believed that they were rooting for her. Cause I remember when we got to that point and she started saying that, I was like, when? I don't recall this in the episode or in the season at
So
all.
I have seen, and I don't know what weight it holds or if it holds any merit at all, but I have seen that the show was kind of rigged for Tiffany to win.
because they brought her back.
Because they brought her back. They coached her
Oh yeah.
to bring her back. They did mention coaching her
Yeah.
on the docuseries, but more to it, it was set
Um,
up for Tiffany to win, but she wasn't giving them the effort to make it
Well,
justifiable.
Tyra actually said that. Like this was set up for you to win this.
Yeah, yeah, she when she was yelling at her, she said, "You knew you had the possibility to win this whole thing."
Yeah.
That was her telling her, "We set this up for you to win,"
Oh.
and she kind of just gave up. So I think that's what pissed Tyra off so much, and that's why it got so heated because the rumors were that she was actually supposed to win that season.
But here's the thing, though, and I think that Tiffany did say something when she went back and was packing her bag. She was like, "You know what? I didn't come here for all this, and you could have said this to me in private. Like, you could have had, they could have stopped recording and them have a conversation. She's an executive producer. She could have done that. She could have like, you know what? We're taking a pause. I need to have a conversation. Why did she blow up in such a way, and it even frightened the other judges on the panel.
I think what it was too, if it was set up for her to win, Tyra probably risked a lot to bring this girl back to advocate for her and be like, okay, I want her to come back and I want her to win. So Tyra probably, I'm not justifying anything that Tyra
Right.
did. However, Tyra probably put her neck on the line for this girl for them to bring her back and say, hey, I want her to win or at the very least be in the top
And
three.
that's on her.
It is, but like when you see that like it was coming from a place of disappointment, and I've done so much for you because who else has come on the show besides Celicia, because apparently Celicia was also coached by Tyra, but who do you know who came on the show who was literally coached in between seasons to be able to come back? That's a lot for a contestant. They put a lot of faith
Yeah.
in Tiffany, so I can kind of understand Tyra's disappointment. She definitely should have handled it different though.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think she should have handled a lot of things differently.
Yeah.
But also in Tiffany's defense, like, because I do remember that episode. Tiffany had trouble not just reading the designers. Tiffany had trouble reading, and I think it was exposed on the show that not that she was illiterate, but she like had a very undeveloped like reading skills. Like maybe she was reading on like a elementary school level or something. So to have that, I'm sure, with this big insecurity
Yeah.
exposed on TV, on a national television show, like that, like anybody would react the way that she reacted. And
Yeah.
so, and I'm sure Tyra probably knew that because according to, I think it was Ebony or somebody said, you know, you have to fill out certain things about yourself when you go on the show. And they exploited shit like that. Let's talk about that photo shoot where old girl had to get shot.
Yes,
Yes.
Dion.
But like, so they know certain things about you and they literally exploit that in some of the challenges. So bless her heart, like she like has trouble reading, and now you want her to not only read these designer names that are in French and in Italian and all of this, also some designer names you probably never even heard of before, along with regular English that you have trouble reading in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You're going to react a certain way. You're going to be defensive. You're going to be mad. You're going to be like,
But you know what?
ugh.
That was intentional. They wanted that type of reaction because they knew it would make good TV.
And that's the thing, like, if we can talk about that for a little bit, because that's all it was. Regardless of what Tyra's intention, what is this saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So Tyra, I full-heartedly believe that she did have good intentions of what she wanted the show to be.
Yeah.
However, the beast got a hold of her, especially when they saw what the success of the first season
Yeah.
was, and they had to continue to feed the beast. Reality TV period, back in the 90s and 2000s, a lot of it does not translate well. Like, even
Yes.
if you watch shows like Martin was extremely misogynistic. He
Mhm.
was very like, he was a bully on TV, but we took it as comedy because that's what it was. It was comedy, and some of the stuff is still funny today. But you look at reality shows back then, especially a competition show, America's Next Top Model. Of course, there was American Idol and there was the Real World,
But even
but
American
America's Next Top Model was the true first of its kind in
Mhm.
that type of format. So you have no structure, like they're just winging it, and they see how the audience is reacting to certain things in certain situations. So they're going to continue to feed
Well,
into those
not. I
certain
mean,
things.
they even admitted it was like after that first season of Popular. Well, what are we going to do now to make it bigger and better? It's like this is a juggernaut now. What do you do to bring more people in? How do you ramp it up? Like, so these producers had to definitely dig into these girls and see what it is that they can use to have better TV. Now, going back to I don't remember which young lady it was who they found out that her mom was
It was Dion.
shot, and then they used that in a photo shoot, and they now each of the girls had different things that they were that they had to portray, gluttony or whatever. But why choose her to be a gunshot victim when you knew
Her mom
her
got shot.
mom was shot?
Yeah.
I
How,
feel like
can you imagine how traumatic that was?
Mm.
Here is how I think Tyra processes shit like that. Your mom went through this traumatic experience. Let's put you in a position where you can take back that power. Let's put you in a
That's
position.
exactly
Bullshit.
that's exactly how she framed it.
That is how she frames it.
That's exactly how she
And
framed it.
to
I will say though, not to interrupt you, Ken
Mhm.
Mock did take full responsibility for that photo shoot. He did say, "I take responsibility for that."
Yeah,
And looking back on it, that should have never happened. So I will say he was the only one out of the two of them between him and Tyra that actually was like, "Okay, maybe we should not have done that."
yeah. And you know what? If that was like Tyra's thinking, because I feel like I I can hear her as she talks about these different things. Like that is kind of how she thinks and comes up with these things. Even if that was an idea that you had, like, why not ask first?
Exactly. Have a
Like,
conversation with her.
hey, I have this idea. And your mom went through this. It was terrible. It was awful. It was traumatic. I'm sorry that it happened. But what if we can create a photo shoot where there is gun violence portrayed, and you're shown as a victim, but or even well, and maybe like do it a different way, but like you're beautiful and you're taking back your power. Instead of just throwing your ass out there and be like, "Hey, girl, we're doing this," and if you don't do it, guess what? You're going home.
Here's the thing, too. Let's not forget this was cycle 8, right? There was a contestant on the show. Her name was JL. I can't remember what her last name is, but
I forgot.
JL came to the show already battling substance abuse. That same exact photo shoot, they had her OD in that photo shoot. JL has passed away since because of
Oh,
substance
damn,
abuse issues.
damn.
So I got chills just thinking about that. Think about like dark, that was some evil, excuse my language, shit. That was some evil shit. Like, this girl has a history of substance abuse. And then you put her in a photo shoot where she has to pretend as though she's dead from substance abuse.
But see, here's the thing. And this is kind of going back to what you were saying with having the conversation with her about, let's try to take back ownership um
Or even asking hey, how do you feel about
right,
this?
but here's the problem with that. That is a you might have good intentions behind that, but then you have to also look at it this way. Regardless of the fact that she took the ownership of that back, she was going to be judged by a panel that knew nothing about that. And then you have the likes of Janice Dickinson,
Ugh.
Child.
who was an asshole from the moment she was on the show.
Yes.
Just, I mean, and she's the worst because she was a drug addict. She would lie on people, Bill Cosby, um, and just do horrific things. And she was just like the mean girl of all mean girls. Like, very rarely did she have anything positive to say. And even when she did, it was kind of like sleight of hand type of compliments. So, regardless of the fact that Tyra would have this, if she would have had this conversation with her, when they got to the judging room, because they even said, "Oh, this picture, she did her own thing where she was just like passing off and it wasn't good and this and that." Like, she'd have been victimized all over again, regardless.
So let's talk about the Janice Dickinson of it all. I don't think they focused enough on
They
that.
didn't.
Granted, she wasn't a part of this docuseries. She'll be a part of the E special that's coming out.
That's right.
But Janice Dickinson was
Horrible.
absolute trash.
Awful.
There's no other, like, she was a complete trash. And kudos for Jay for when he was on good terms with Tyra. When they put him on the panel and he started to combat her
Yeah.
because Tyra got to the point where she was like, I'm tired of this. I can't take it anymore. She's always trying to like undercut everything I'm saying. So kudos for Jay for trying to fight with her. But
Mhm.
somebody like Janice Dickinson should have never been on that show.
Ever.
She was horrible.
She was awful. Literally calling some girls fat who had like no stomach at all. Like, bitch, are you serious? You know who I noticed like wasn't at all in this docuseries, Paulina Poroskova and Twiggy.
I
They
noticed that
were
too.
nowhere in this docuseries.
Like not even in like B-roll stuff.
Not even.
Yeah.
And that could be there's probably a reason because I don't really remember them ever really being problematic. I could be very wrong, but I don't remember them saying anything untoward. I especially remember like Twiggy being just kind of, I guess, sweet. I could be eating my words right now. There could be tons of footage from ANTM.
No, Twiggy was, I think she was the nice judge. Like
Yeah,
she gave like raw opinions, but she was never rude about it. Like she was never nasty about it.
yeah, yeah. So I did okay. Switching just topics a little bit, if I may.
Mhm.
Not the gender, the race swap. I didn't realize they did it again.
I didn't realize
I-
I didn't realize they did it twice either until I realized they did it twice watching that, because I watched the petite season. I remember the petite season and I remember both photo shoots. But for some reason,
Can I be honest? The first time when I watched it back in the day, I didn't see anything problematic about it when I first watched it.
I don't think anybody did.
I don't think a lot of people did, and that's why the show lasted for 24 cycles.
So the thing is, back then, racism was not as prevalent as it is now. And people weren't using blackface then to be
Well-
racist. When they do it now, it is
Well, no,
intentionally.
it was. I think doing blackface was always racist, but I think
was.
But I think how it was contextualized and presented to the audience, it didn't
Yes.
seem like, all right, well, we're making fun and we're mocking. Like the way it was presented, it was just like, all right, we want to show you how it is to live in another ethnicity's
Body.
and have that experience, and then photograph it and show you how beautiful it can be, that experience.
Yeah.
But looking back, it's just like, oh,
It's like, girl, that should never have
and then you went
happened.
and did it again, like
They
literally
did it twice.
back to back seasons.
No, it wasn't.
No,
The
it
petite
wasn't.
season came seasons later.
Oh, it wasn't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. But I think to your point, Chris, like the it was the concept that I think was able to that made that fly under the radar. So had it been like, okay, white girls, we're gonna paint your skin brown and you're gonna be this race, but you're gonna have to be a jigaboo, that was gonna be like, bitch, girl, what the fuck are you doing? You're canceled immediately. But this was, okay, we're going to, you're white girl, you're gonna be East African or South African, but you're gonna be regal and beautiful and holding a baby for some reason. So it's the concept is how it flew over.
Yeah.
But and I mean, I hate to say this to Tyra's point, and to to the points of kind of what we've said in this episode. Back then, we weren't looking at things like that as heavily as we are now.
No.
And I do think that is why now this docuseries is being talked about, so because it's problematic. It was problematic then, we just didn't realize it. It's very problematic now because we realize it.
And that's the thing too. Everything is in context, right?
Yes.
Look at the sign of the times then, and everything that was going on then, and what we craved then, right? So you can't, this is the one thing I cannot fault Tyra for. I cannot fault Tyra for, like I said earlier, feeding the beast, for what entertainment was then. But switching gears again just a little bit, talking about then and now, I want to talk about Danny or Danielle Evans of it all and the gap of it all. I want to talk more about Danielle, but to focus on the gap of it all, to have this girl close her gap and to criticize her for her gap, and then a white girl comes on several seasons later and you widen her gap. Yes.
First of all, I don't remember the white girl that got her gap widened, but I was like, that's fucked up.
Beyond.
Second of all, Danny, I know she went by Danielle at one point. I don't know if she's going by Danielle.
So she won as Danielle.
Yes.
When she was doing her own modeling thing, and she also started a hat company, she shortened it to Danny. And then now, by the end of this, it sounds like she's going by Danielle again. Like she's owning her. She's owning her name again.
Yeah.
Whatever she's going by, girl.
Stun.
Bitch.
Stunning. As Monique Hart would say, or Mo Hart would say, winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby girl, like she has been my. I think we talked about it
Yeah.
on the episode. She was my favorite winner. I
Mhm.
remember her entire cycle. I just
Yes.
knew Joni was going to win. First of all, Joni looking like a lumberjack was not on my bingo card. She had on the
Oh, yeah,
she
yeah,
had
yeah.
on the thermal flannel and some jeans.
Yeah.
Joni looking like a lumberjack was not on my bingo card, but it was her and Joni in the finals, which they gave both of those girls dental work.
Let's talk about it.
Ugh.
Bitch, when I
And-
tell you, I you're in
Moose
the
gagged.
chair for
and
hours.
they didn't even fix. They didn't even fix it
Hours.
properly. She said, like, she still needs to get work
First
done
of all,
afterwards.
why does she still have her teeth?
What do you mean? Why does she still? Oh,
Well, it's like a baby. You hold on to your baby teeth.
She still has
honestly,
teeth.
she seems like the one that was least traumatized.
She does, and like
Because
even
some of her responses weren't giving I've been traumatized. It was like, oh yeah, it was a kind of a crazy experience, but I got my teeth done.
and
So
she was like one of the few that said she would do it again. She would do it differently, but she would do it again.
yeah. Speaking of doing it again, I know Tyra is not serious about a cycle 25.
I think she was. I think she said that preemptively. Because I think she said that before like all of the backlashes come out.
Yeah, because this was
Um,
they started recording this in the contracts were signed in 2024. I think they started recording this maybe late 2024 through 2025. Because and here's the thing, this is what people don't realize. I've been watching. There's so much stuff on social media right now, especially with Jay Jay.
We're gonna get to them in a
Okay.
second. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to keep the people too long.
Okay.
I do want to just say, going back to Danny of it all, right? She is a real one. She was really like, you know what? No, this was fucked up, and you're not going to skirt past it. And
Yeah.
then the thing that stuck out to me the most was the conversation she had with Tyra 15 years after her season on the phone. Tyra didn't even give her the courtesy of a face-to-face conversation.
Yeah.
But for like, it was gut wrenching for Danny to say, for you to see me in my struggle and walk past me, like, girl. I think that's why Tyra, like, to admit it to her over the phone and then to tell her, "Oh, I was always on the fence with you," basically saying, "Oh, I didn't really want you to win, but you won anyway."
Is that what she said?
That she
Well,
didn't. She didn't say that verbatim,
Well, she
but
said
she
it.
told Danny, "I was always on the fence with you,"
Yeah.
and
Oh, she
that
did say
basically
that.
says, "Oh, I didn't really want you to win." I
I
think
don't know.
production.
I don't. I don't remember that at all. What I
Yes.
remember was Danny. Apparently, Tyra said to Danny, "I always knew there were doors that were never going to be open for you
She said
because
that
She
too.
said that too.
that part I do remember very clearly."
Yeah.
So then, bitch, if you knew that, why would you put me out there like that?
Exactly.
And
Because she, like I said, like the comment of "I was always on the fence with you," that's why she put her out there like that, because she knew she didn't want that girl to win. She more than likely wanted Joni to win. But I think Danny had the more compelling story. If you remember, she had food poisoning in Thailand.
Yeah.
She broke her ankle. The whole gap of it all, them constantly harping on the way she spoke. The girl was from Arkansas. Leave her alone.
yeah, it was a lot.
This series was a lot, and when I say this, I mean the whole cycle 1 through 24. And I kind of stopped watching it maybe after cycle 13 or 14, something like that. But
Yeah, I think the last full cycle I watched was the British invasion. I don't even think I watched the full British invasion one. I did watch the Petite cycle. I watched it like once when it came back when Ashley Graham was hosting. I knew Rita Ora was on there, but I didn't watch the whole season. But I saw the season that Ashley Graham hosted, and then they brought Tyra back after that season.
and here's the other thing too, like I love that some of these women talked about how we talked about earlier also about how they thought that this was going to be their come up. And
And it was
to
not.
be honest with you, out of all those years of doing that show, there's only a handful of people that actually made careers out of it. And it wasn't because of
It wasn't because of Tyra.
Tyra. It wasn't because of Top Model. It's just because they were persistent and they pursued other things. The one season that really stuck out to me and the winner that I will always love is Eva.
Yeah.
Like, that was my girl, you know what I mean? And to see what she's done with herself, regardless of the fact that she's had good roles, bad roles in TV and film, whatever, but, like, she just seemed like to me, she's always been that girl from the very
Yeah.
beginning.
Even the diva walked in that room, she said, "Imma be a star," and a
Yeah.
star she is. The show be damned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's switch gears a little bit. Let's get into the Jays and the Nigel Barkers of it all. I wanna start with J. Manuel first, Mr. J first. That man,
He was traumatized.
I don't even wanna say it was trauma. I don't even wanna say it was trauma for him, but he lost I can't even say he lost a friend because was she ever really his friend?
Well, I mean,
According to him, he was. I mean,
yeah,
he
like
thought
Like, they
so.
were like best
well, no,
friends.
yeah, because she would always come over to his place when she was in California, would stay with him. They would go out, do all the things. She came to him and asked him, "Hey, I want you to be a part of this, be on the show with me." And it was his creative process that did all of the handled all the photo shoots from the very
Until it
beginning
wasn't.
until it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, you got big and popular, and then you forgot about the person that helped to get you there. And it's not as though that person wasn't there. The person was right there, and you still screwed him over. And then when she did not return his phone call,
Well, no, she responded to his email with 3 words.
was it like 3 weeks later or something like that?
Yeah, and with 3 words, "I am disappointed."
Go fuck yourself.
Like, and then made him come back to work
Yeah,
in a lesser role.
and then fired him.
Yo, like,
Yeah.
That's not no friend.
And
"You got a friend."
I've heard people say that he's also kind of responsible or culpable for a lot of the things that happened too. And I can kind of see that because he was a part of the show. He did kind of push some of the girls to do things that maybe they didn't want to do.
But
Or
here's the thing,
whatever.
though. I understand that, and I'm not saying that he is innocent in all this, but like a lot of things that he did was because he was told to do that, and if you didn't do it, he was going to lose his job.
But not really though, because cycles like 1 through 8, I think it was, before he tried to quit, he was the creative director for those shoots.
Right,
Yep.
but there were things. If you watch, there were things that they were asking him to do that he didn't necessarily want to do.
Yeah,
But
that was after he tried to quit though.
I think there was parts that before that also.
Mm.
I don't remember. Can we talk about Miss J?
Yeah,
We can talk about Miss J. So the whole time Miss J was on, I kept saying to Chris, I'm like, she talks like she
ha-
has cancer or
yeah.
something. Because like you could hear the strain in her voice. And yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was finna look up Miss J's pronouns. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm curious too. Cause I know he goes by or they go by Miss J.
Doesn't say.
And
I'm going to their
Well,
Instagram.
regardless of as you look that up,
yeah.
I think that I mean, out of everyone out of this documentary, I felt so bad for Miss J
Yeah.
because of the simple fact that they all believed that they were a part of a family.
Yeah.
Tyra, Mr. J,
Miss
and
J
Miss J and
and Nigel.
Nigel.
Yeah.
They all they did this together. They all had back history. It's not like, all right, yeah, well, we coming together on this thing and we formed this family because we're in this together. They all knew each other beforehand.
Yeah.
And Tyra knew every last one of them and handpicked because she was friends with these people and she knew that she could do this with them and make this thing. And then for the way that she acted afterwards, she fired all of them.
According to her, it wasn't her decision to fire them.
It doesn't matter if it's your decision or not. Yes, she has to answer to someone, but these are your friends. These are your family.
Supposedly.
When you didn't have shit, you laid on their couches. You relied on them to help you. They helped you with your career. Miss J taught
her
Tyra how to walk runway. Okay, for you to see this man have a stroke, be in a coma for was it 5 weeks?
I think so, yeah.
5 weeks in a coma in 2022, and you only had a voicemail or
She texted him
okay,
like right before they started filming.
2
What it
years
sounded
later,
like.
and you have not seen this person, and you're supposed to be family. Yo, let me tell you something. When that happened right there, that's when I lost all respect for her. At that point, I was like, you know what? She deserves all the backlash because I don't, things happen with people over time. People go their separate way. But when something like that happens, you have to find your humanity. Miss J, as Mr. J just said, today, as a matter of fact, on social media, well, Wednesday as of this recording, Miss J just literally took her first steps.
Oh wow.
Mm.
She's now standing and taking her first steps. And this was recorded, I believe, 2 years ago or a year ago.
Yeah.
She's just now taking her first steps. A massive stroke. And you don't find it in your heart to go say, hey, you and I were close ones.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happened,
And
let me be there for you.
And that's my thing. Like after they got fired, the way you handle that is like, hey, let's all go have a conversation. This is what's happening up top, but I still want to make sure y'all are in my life. Da, 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 da. Make the effort to
Yeah.
actually be their family. And the only thing Miss J got shortly after fire was a bouquet of flowers. Mr. J got nothing. And then that was the other thing. Yeah, that was before. But see, that's the other thing. When they asked Tyra about Mr. J, she said, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I should call him." What you mean I should call him?
Girl.
It's been years.
Years, girl. And I can guarantee she probably didn't call him.
She's more than likely still hasn't called. And kudos to Mr. J for being the bigger person because not once did he badmouth Tyra.
Listen, Mr. J, Miss J, and Nigel, they all, let me tell you something. They had an opportunity right there to throw her under the bus and make her seem like she was the evil person that she was. And they never once talked bad about her.
Yeah.
I because I don't think they think she's evil. I think they see the wrong that she has done, but I truly don't think that they are seeing her as a villain.
But they didn't even call her out on that, on the bad stuff that she did. Like they, till this day, they still give like for the sake of appearances, they allow her to be the good guy.
And you were watching something, I think it was Mr. J and Nigel, they were on a live or something like that. And I didn't watch it, but I overheard them say that Tyra had nothing, like Tyra didn't have to do this. She was like, they were saying she was brave
Right.
for even coming on to do it. So they're still like big up in Kyra.
So how that started was they came on the live and they was like, well, just so everyone understands it, Tyra had nothing to do with this documentary. She was not the executive producer. She actually signed on after, because when they signed on, Miss J, Mr. J, and Nigel, they signed onto this project in 2024. Tyra came on in 2025, a year later after them. She had nothing to do with this Netflix special. She was asked to come and just kind of give her side of it.
Can we press pause for a second? Do you know that none of the models were paid to be on this show? They didn't pay.
Well, back in the day, I mean,
no, not America's Next Top Model. The Netflix did not pay the models to do it because they didn't want it to seem as though they were paying them to come on and talk bad about Tyra and talk bad about the show.
Well, most documentaries like that, I don't think they don't.
I was gonna say, would anyone have been paid?
No, I don't think so.
I just feel like, I mean, granted, it kind of puts them back out in the camera and all that other stuff because some of these girls are forgotten about, but you would still think they would have gotten some type of compensation because that's still like you gotta.
I don't think so because I feel like that creates then an incentive to maybe.
And that's what I just said. Like they didn't want it to be like they're paying them to come on and talk bad about Tyra on the show.
Yeah. So probably not. I feel like there was something. Oh, by the way, Miss J doesn't have their pronouns on their Instagram page, but Google says that they use he, him, and she, hers. So
okay. So we're right all around.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, this was. I'm sure there's something we didn't even cover
because there was so much.
It was so much.
It was overwhelming.
We completely skipped over the Giselle of it all. I guess her story wasn't that compelling, but like them girls bullied her.
Oh well,
kind of.
Was she the one?
Cycle 1. She was cycle 1.
Yeah, the Latin
Yeah, she was the one that made the postcards, sent them out to, like, agencies and
Yes,
everything, and
before
then when
before it
yeah,
aired.
and then they saw the show and nobody wanted to hire her.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
wasn't she the first one to go home?
No, she lasted a little bit.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah, but, you know what it was? Because she didn't I don't think anyone realized when they were filming this that it
It
was
was
gonna
gonna
be
be as
edited
big.
the way it was, and then how they were portrayed, like, they were complete story they didn't realize that there were storylines being made up, for these girls,
Yeah.
during the editing process, because they just thought they were people would see them going out and being models, and that, but then they were showing the backstory of who these girls really were and all of the drama that was being unfolded. It's like nobody wants to work with these girls.
Yeah.
Well, you're going into it innocently thinking, it's a show that can launch my modeling career. I think a number of ladies said it in the documentary. You had to once you got there and you were on set and you saw this stuff happening, you had to realize this is a TV show first
Yeah.
and a modeling show or modeling
Yeah, I
competition.
think
Well,
And
Ebony came to that realization like she was on Cycle One. She was on the docuseries. She came to that
Mhm,
realization. She even said that she was
yeah.
like, "Okay, wait, this is what they're trying to do."
Mhm.
well, here's the kicker, and I think a lot of them found out, and it was even mentioned in this that um, a lot of modeling agencies didn't want to hire them because they're like, oh no, they're not models, they're reality stars.
Yeah,
We don't want them. And here are now these winners that quote unquote had these contracts and they're not even being used. They weren't going out on go sees. They were literally just living in these model houses day in, day out until their contracts expired where they can get rid of them. They didn't even
Mhm.
work.
And the thing is, too, back then, 2002, 2003, 2004, social media was not a thing.
No, it
So
wasn't.
there was no pipeline for these girls once they got off of the show
Right.
to be able to instantly be like, "This is what you can expect if you go on this show."
Yeah.
And possibly win or even not. So there was no like yeah, there was nothing for
There was
them.
no
There
recourse
was
for
nothing
them.
yeah, there was
There was
nothing
no
to reference. There was no way to be like, okay, don't do this show or do this show if
Yeah.
such and
yeah,
such.
like homegirl went back to Walgreens.
She did.
That was the saddest, well, not the saddest part of the story,
But yes,
but
that was sad.
it was sad, like, damn.
Here you are on national TV.
Sexually
I mean,
assaulted.
yes, and then all you could do is go back to the town where you came from and go back to Walgreens.
Yeah.
That is so depressing and defeating. Like honestly, I mean, I can see how
Mm.
life would just not treat you well after that.
Yeah.
I hope life is treating her well.
It seems like it is.
I hope
And
so, because she certainly deserves
yeah.
Jesus.
And
She's been through a lot.
speaking of life, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
All right.
But I would love to hear you guys' final thoughts on the show, good, bad, indifferent. We'll start with you, TJ.
I'm so if the other documentary that's coming out next month is supposed to be rawer and more real than this one, I'm afraid
I'm
because
fir-
from what I've been hearing, apparently like contestants from the show signed up for that one and not this one because Tyra was involved. So if y'all finna give us some more shit that we didn't even hear about on this one, I'm like, oh God. But this was a lot to take in.
what I will say about go ahead. Sorry,
No,
go ahead.
guys.
What I will say about the one on E, Lisa D'Amato seems to be like spearheading this whole like smear campaign for Tyra. I feel like every time I see her on my screen, I don't know how or why she keeps popping up on my timeline because I do not follow this woman.
Because
But
you're following the documentary and that's a
po-
part of all of that. Yeah.
possibly, but she has been very vocal about what they're doing on E, and it just seems like it's about to be a whole mess, a whole mess.
And we'll be back
Yeah.
for part two.
We sure
Yeah.
will.
Well, here's the thing. I like I said in the very beginning, I don't think this docu series did Tyra any good. If anything else, this is something that Tyra should have just stayed
She should stayed away
far
from.
away from because this has really damaged her in such a way that like people always kind of liked Tyra for the most part, and he always gave her the benefit of the doubt. And this just exposed her for who she really is, and it was not good. And because of this docuseries now, people are coming out and saying things about her, and like other interviews that she's done in the past that was like, girl, what were you doing? Even like the whole thing about her ice cream shop that she opened up in Australia. It even came to a point where she was supposedly opening an ice cream shop in Atlanta. She had signed a lease at one building and ended up not deciding to use that space and went to another space. And now the owner of that the building where she signed the contract to put her ice cream shop in, is suing her for like $6 million. Like all that stuff is coming up now.
I will say a lot of what's coming out too does kind of feel like a cash grab to an extent. I feel like they see the faucet leaking, so they're just trying to burst the pipes at this point as it pertains to Tyra. And I feel like that's a lot of what like Lisa D'Amato is doing, because like she's been very vocal, and like I'm not gonna say nobody thought about this girl, but nobody was really thinking about this girl in mainstream until all of this came up. And I even think about like Kenya Hill. Yeah, what happened to her on Top Model was trash, but I've seen her do several interviews now. Even at the end of the docu-series, she was like, "Oh, I can hang out for a bit." Like it seems like she's trying to relaunch her career in a sense.
Well, a lot of them are.
And granted, this is the opportunity to do so, but some of it kind of feels thirsty, and I feel like that's kind of where that's kind of how I see Lisa at this point. Um, but the overall, this show was a mess. Like you said, it did Tyra no favors. I think she just needs to go live a quiet life in Australia with her son and her mom,
And her hot ice cream.
yeah, and just that she can taste as soon as it touches her tongue.
Yes, she didn't need to come back
And
and speak to this. Because here's the thing. I think that if she didn't come back and give these half-assed apologies,
yeah,
Miss J, Mr. J, and Nigel would have protected her, and that would have been the end of it.
yeah. So
She didn't help herself. It was just like, girl, stop talking, stop talking. You're making it worse. Stop talking.
yeah, they say you talk long, you talk wrong.
New Inspector Gadget jacket.
Yes. And with that being said, I will say thank you, gentlemen, for joining me for this Gworl What's Going On episode of the Wait What podcast. This was definitely even still a Wait What discussion, because girl, what? And we love you all for watching. We love you for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back to our regular schedule next week, maybe. We'll see. If I have something to say, I'll bring it to you. But as always, take care of your mental, take care of your heart, take care of your spirit, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.